And one of those boys managed another win. Jenson Button, well done to him. Great day. We've enjoyed that, haven't we?
We're not altogether surprised, are we? Everything, if you were to pick a day, conditions, the temperature, the change from wet, dry, all sorts of conditions, you wouldn't pick a person above Jenson Button. This is his territory. He reigned supreme.
Yeah, well done to him. We've got lots of tweets coming in on all kinds of subjects, actually, so thank you very much for those. We'll carry on looking at those and discussing those throughout the day. What would you like people to get in touch with? What do you want to know about?
Well, obviously people will want to know, was the call by Lewis on the tyres, was it really the situation? Would he have ever got to the end of the race with the soft tyres? How harsh was the steward's decision with regard to the Di Resta situation? Because everyone we seem to talk to seems to have various views on it. There's a whole host of things we want to know about. What happened to Alonso? He should have been there in the mix, really, really closer than he was. There's so many good things. And of course, we want to talk about Di Resta. His best ever finish in Formula One, finishing 7th, rookie year. He's getting himself right up there. We had a close call as to say, who is the current best rookie at this stage a couple of races ago? And we had to go with Perez because of the points tally. I tell you, it's getting very close call now.
Indeed it is. Right, let's go through the McLaren garage. I think our plan is maybe to pop through McLaren, see what's going on in the pit lane. There's plenty of fans knocking around out there as well, because it's nice. It's one of those races where they open up the pit straight and the fans can dive on there. You were greeting them a minute ago, weren't you? They enjoyed that.
Well, oh, those fans. Oh,
yes.
We love the fans. Hungary was always a really spectacular place.
Yeah.
Fans, they embrace it. We talked earlier about the problems in Turkey. This is the exact opposite.
Yeah.
People love it here. It's the biggest sporting event of their calendar year. They enjoy this place more than anything. And because it is so central, they're able to come to so many different countries to come here because it is the centre of Europe.
Now look at those. That's what you get. This is what you saw live on BBC One just moments ago. The oh, I don't want to break it. Blimey. Woo! That was a slightly nerve-wracking moment. The trophies for Jenson Button, and which is fine, and McLaren as well. What do you think of those, Eddie? Interesting design, aren't they?
You know, they could be a box of matches or anything very similar. It doesn't matter. The fact that it says, look, winning constructor. And what does it say here? First place. It could be an old broken tumbler. No one would care. This is the thing that makes the difference. The trophy in itself, how great or grand it is insignificant.
And it's always nice to come into the garage. As you know, they have the very famous, what they call rocket red tops, and we sort of describe them as orange. Do you want to go and have a chat to a couple of these guys, Eddie, see where they're from, see how they feel about that one?
I think a lot of these are sponsors. Let's see what's going on over here. Ladies, you look so wonderful in that colour. We do know that that's the winning colour. Where are you from?
Me, I'm from the... From Surrey. Yes. Oh, you want to know? Okay, sorry.
First of all, where are you from? You're from
Surrey.
And where exactly brings you here? Why do you have? Are you a sponsor, or are you a guest, or are you associated with the team?
Vodafone.
You're from Vodafone.
Yeah.
And you?
I'm a guest.
You're a guest.
I'm a guest, and I'm from Wales.
Well, that's all right. But look, what we want to know is what inspired this idea of getting this colour? Are you going to change it in the future, or is this the traditional winning colour of McLaren?
Eddie, red's about winning. Red's about pride. It's about passion. It shows that we want to be noted when we have done something successful, and that's why we put the red sheets, red shirts on.
So that's why Ferrari racing red, is it?
Yeah. You walked yourself into that one, didn't you, a little bit?
Call it orange. It's much easier. It is actually orange.
Red's also renowned about winning. If you go to China and the passion, if you do something to celebrate in China, it's all red, and so that's what we thought. We thought red shows we want to be, and also it was done because of Vodafone as well.
Oh, enough. Right, let's go.
Can't possibly.
Let's go.
Comment on that.
Next time you say to somebody, Eddie, where are you from, and they say Surrey, go. No need to apologise.
Oh, well, no, at least, thank goodness they didn't say Norwich, because then that would have been a problem, because you'd have been doing hoops all over the place.
Nothing wrong with Norwich. Now, we're out here in the pit lane. The fans were desperately attempting to get through and celebrate with Jenson today, but as you can see, they've got high-tech... Roger, don't worry. Look, you're on the programme as often as we are on the forum. They've got high-tech, cutting-edge security up there. Look at that. There is no way past those security guards blocking everyone's ability and attempt to try and get through, but it seems like they all enjoyed the race today. And this is an opportunity for us to take a bit of a walk down the pit lane. There's no big rush now. A week ago, when we were desperate to go in and celebrate with McLaren after their win in the German race, they said to us, look, guys, don't come in here with us because we've got a race to get to in 7 days' time. We're now on a big summer break, and these teams can breathe a bit of a sigh of relief, Eddie, unpack slowly, get themselves prepared and head back to the UK and take stock, really.
Well, you know, the great thing about this break was created perhaps about 10, 12 years ago, because it was ranging from 16 races, 17, 18, 19 per season. Teams and the personnel were getting burnt out, and as a result they weren't seeing their family. Kids who would traditionally have school holidays, they want to be able to meet and to know and go on holiday with their loved ones. So this is important, and that is oh dear, this is part of the blow-up.
Now, what we've got here, we've got the garage door down here where Nick Heidfeldt's car is, but actually what they've neglected to do is put away all the bodywork. It's just sitting here in the pit lane. And if you take a look over the far side, I mean, it stinks. I mean, it smells of sort of burning debris, and you can see here what's been left of that explosion. So we might take a walk down, actually, have a little look where that happened.
Jake, the overriding smell here is electrical, isn't it? That's the thing that's coming across. I mean, it's not the bodywork or it's electrical. Something obviously caught fire apart from the engine blowing up. The electrics caused that severe fire.
How would you feel if you were Nick Heidfeldt and twice in the space of a few months at Barcelona and then here, your car has ended up looking pretty hot and flaming?
Well, there's something just not right with putting the car together. Something is either all too tight, it's too marginal, because you shouldn't, you know, you have a fire once, okay, that should be it. And then you take stock and you look at all the avenues that could cause such a thing. But to have a second fire, it's not usual in Formula One. People have an ability to be able to eradicate that kind of failure. I am quite surprised.
OK, well, if we take a look over there, we can see Martin Brundle, ever interested, almost poking his nose into the Renault garage to have a look what that car looks like.
Well, I wondered if it was the KERS battery that blew up underneath it. You don't always know where they are, but...
very strong smell of electrics.
I mean, I think it's rude for us to poke the camera in, but you can always have a little look through the window and tell us what you think of what they're doing in there. I mean,
yeah, it's probably easy to look around the side of the garage, but until you get right in the side of the car, I don't think you'll know. But maybe there's somebody who can tell us. I think Ted has found Eric Bouillet, the boss of the Renault team.
Well, Eric, tell us what you know about the engine failure. Was exhaust failure on Nick? What?
We had an issue on the pit stop, actually. One of the wheel nut was stuck, and the gun failed. So the car wasn't lifted, and the engine was still blowing at the high revs, And this design is not done for this purpose, so I think it went too hot and the exhaust blew up.
OK, but the engine should be able to just sit there for 10 seconds, even 15, 20 seconds without blowing up.
Of course, but not when you're on the limiter.
So why was Nick on the limiter then?
Because he was supposed to be dropped down until to lift.
Right, maybe should he have lifted off?
Should I? Yes, maybe. But the issue it's being on the rev limiter, because this is a procedure when you're changing the tires. There is a timing and the light system allows them to go on the rev. But then on the release on the gun it doesn't work. And they stay too long.
Okay, why? This is the second time we've seen this season your car's on fire. Why is it? Is it these exhausts that go under the car?
I think the design is done for the running car, not for a standing car. I mean, the problem we had the other time was different. It was completely different, actually. It was just an exhaust breaking up, and then obviously the gas blowing into the car inside so it was completely different.
Okay, thank you very much, Eric.
Oh, carry on. I'm only joking.
This is your domain. I was getting your talk back, so I thought, well, I better throw to Eric Bouillet. That's what they're telling me to do.
We can swap jobs. You haven't done much talking today, so you might
Very sensible of our producer. He didn't give me any hearing whatsoever, so well done to the boys.
Yes. Right, let's go for a walk, because I want to have a little walk down the pit lane, and hopefully, Martin, we can actually get as far as the point where Nick Heidfeldt's car was brought back into the pit lane. The marshals did a sterling job, and it's a brave thing to go and stand next to a burning Formula One car when you've got cars coming past down the pit straight at 200 miles an hour. But bringing the car backwards up the pit lane as Sebastian's exiting, was that something that would have been in the plan if a car had gone off there, or how would that decision have been made at the time?
I was a little bit surprised by that whole affair. I mean, I tread carefully here because I'm always saying there's a bit too much health and safety going on, and when we use the safety car, I must admit, I think I would have put the safety car out on that, because you've got the explosion, the car's half in the pit exit lane. They've got to recover it backwards against the flow of traffic in a race where we had the highest number of pit stops ever in a Grand Prix. And I have to say, I think that called for a safety car.
OK, I'm struggling a bit with my tweets this weekend. Most of these are unreadable at the moment. I wonder if the thing that kept on burning, was Renault's KERS battery. Eddie?
Well, we've heard from Eric something quite different, so he's the one running the show. Kerr's battery, Martin, we smelt clearly something electrical or battery operated. There was some failure in that thing. Obviously, I'm concerned about what Eric was saying, that the car was on idle on the limiter. Can you work that one out for me, Martin? Because that leaves me cold. That means the engine was actually at full throttle. Well, I didn't see that at any stage, because, you know, to be on the limiter... Explain.
Well, we didn't hear it. Am I understanding Eric saying that Nick kept too much throttle on? Because we see them ticking over for half a minute on the grid. Yeah. So normally they'll tick over for a long time, but only in 4-cylinder mode. If he's sitting there with 8 cylinders pumping away, but why would a driver do that? I don't.
And also that car needs to be able to sit still for a time without the team wondering what's going on.
We'd also hear it. You would hear it. If you heard a stationary car revving at, if he's talking about limiter at 18 or whatever it is, honestly, that's not what I heard.
Look, what Renault are going to be sensitive to is the front exiting exhaust. So they've got a hugely long exhaust pipe that runs all the way down the side of the car in the wrong direction and comes out the front. We saw as he pulled away, the thing was sticking smoke and bits and pieces and molten metal.
You could see it pumping out the exhaust, couldn't you?
Yeah, and the exhaust, of course, is at the front of the side pod, only on that car. But the Kerr's batteries do sit underneath and behind the driver. And there you go, you watch it just pumping bits. See, that to me is suggesting the engine's blown up and it's digesting its own pistons and valves at that point. But it was obviously the explosion, I think, was a secondary thing after the engine had been cut off. I mean, he actually had quite a big slide almost, didn't he? So that suggests to me that the V8 engine was actually blowing up at that point.
It was over before he left the pits. Actually, had they had another slight opportunity and the lollipop man, they would have pulled a shutter on it because it was going nowhere and it was going to cause a problem. They could have perhaps been fined because letting the car out, and it was relatively unsafe because there was plumes of smoke everywhere. That engine had already blown up, in my view.
Yeah, it's almost a wonder that they didn't park it here in no man's land at the end of the pit lane, actually, because, as you say, that was not working when he left. But that racer's mentality, the adrenaline's flowing. You keep going as long as you can, don't you, in case you can creep around and sort it out. But that car was broken when it left, you're right.
Well, you live in hope, and a driver will always do their maximum. He will, even a dead car, they will drag it around some way. And Nick Heidfeld, he saw, that was a scary moment for him, because if you saw the blow-up, he wouldn't want to have been sitting in the car when that happened. That was scary in itself. And, as you rightly say, 2 fires in a number of races. It's unacceptable.
And where does this leave Renault? They've had another car not finish the race today. They were really pushing at the start of the year. 4th was their aim in the championship. They looked good for that. How will Eric Boulay and the team be feeling going into this summer break?
Well, I'll tell you exactly where it leaves them. It leaves them behind Force India quite comfortably now in terms of performance. Force India have taken a big step forward. Sotil last Sunday in Germany, Di Resta today. And Renault thought they were going to start, nibbling at the heels of Mercedes-Benz and the front runners, which is where they were with Kubica last year, of course. And all of a sudden, they're going backwards down the field and racing with Toro Rosso.
We talked about this, didn't we, last race, Jake? We talked about the huge intensity of the battle there between Force India, Renault, Sauber, and today you'd have to say Toro Rosso made a decent effort. They got both cars into the finish, even though they collided with each other. I thought they did a decent job. But Force India, you're absolutely spot on. They've made a remarkable move forward. And both drivers seem to be enjoying it. They're on a different planet. They're actually getting on with it now, and they're actually finishing good points every race. Yeah, now my plan was to walk to where the car set on fire. It's amazing how different things look on the television. It's actually a long way away. If you take a look, I don't know whether you could even see this. If you look right the way down there, past those 2 guys who are standing leaning against the wall, you can see just that little black mark on the floor. That was where Nick Heidfeld's car stopped. And you can see actually how far they were having to bring the car back up the pit lane. And it's about here, just where you got the change in the tarmac quality, where Sebastian Vettel managed to sort of spin the car around a bit. But if we come around here instead, we can actually go and speak to some of the fans, because there are plenty of them on the grid at the moment, because they come from all over Europe here. We saw plenty of different flags before the race started. They've come over here from Poland. Of course, Hungary is a landlocked country, and they love their F1, and I think they're quite keen to speak to us as well. Fair few Union flags as well. Come on, boys, let's go and have a little word over here with some of the fans, because this is what Formula One's all about. And our aim when we took over the coverage of the sport in 2009 was to try and get the fans closer to what goes on. Not quite this close. All right.
Hello there.
Vanessa McGuigan.
Hi, Vanessa McGuigan. Where are you from?
London.
Excellent. You come over all the way just for this race or for a holiday?
For this race, met Eddie last night, got a photo, and DC, loving it.
Just to confirm, you met Eddie and DC at 7:30 in the evening as they were on their way to bed, yes?
Yes. They were just going out of the bar to their room. Remember, my dress is brighter than Eddie's shirt.
I know. Well, that's something. And they'd left the bar having only drunk lemonades. We've got plenty of British fans. How many British F1 fans do you think have been here this weekend?
Loads.
How's the atmosphere been?
It's really, really good. There's loads of people in the stands. It's really good fun.
And what's the attraction of coming to the Hungarian Grand Prix? What's the attraction of coming to this race?
It's just easy to get to. It's within Europe, and it's good fun.
Great. This is what it's about, though, isn't it? Meeting these guys who give up their hard-earned cash and their hard-fought time to...
Yeah, I always say if we're not doing it for the fans, let's race on a Wednesday afternoon behind closed doors, because this is the only reason we do it, really. We love to count them on the websites, the TV audience, in the fan clubs, and that's why it's so good to meet them. And Budapest, like Barcelona, makes a lot of sense to me. You've got a wonderful city with a lot of culture, 20 minutes down the road, and you get to see a Grand Prix too. Good place to come.
You enjoy the race today, everybody? Yeah, excellent. You enjoy the BBC coverage?
Yeah, we don't want Sky. We don't want it on Sky.
Is what?
We don't want it on Sky.
What?
Well, censorship at an extreme. But Jake, isn't that right? What we're seeing here is that this is so typical of what we've expected since, 86 or whenever it was, 26 years uninterrupted. It is fantastic. Hungary is just an amazingly warm place to come to. It's a wild with excitement in the centre of town. You come out here and you race, and the people here, because it's the biggest sporting event they have in each year, they actually embrace it. They didn't do that in Turkey, and I think that's why it's not on the calendar for next year.
And actually, it was a pretty special race. You know, the new rules have helped Formula One this year, and they've helped someone like this because it hasn't been the most exciting track over the years. But today there was a lot to get excited about.
Well, there have been some good Grand Prix here, because it's a tough racetrack, I have to tell you. And it's difficult to do 70 laps around here flat out and hit every braking point, every apex. And I think generally the drivers like this Grand Prix. There's not always been a lot of overtaking, but we certainly had plenty, didn't we, today? I mean, I can't begin. What impressed me about Vettel in the drivers in the unilateral press conference is he could remember every aspect of his race. Yeah. My head's spinning with so many things going on.
Well, we heard DC, he admitted to us, which I'm sure he wouldn't have done years ago, he admitted it, he's cried halt. He was so exhausted on his first ever Grand Prix here. He couldn't believe how many twists and turns. His neck felt as if it was somewhere in the middle of his stomach. He was absolutely beat. And full marks for him admitting that to us, because actually it is probably one of the toughest races physically, Martin. And
add to that 88 pit stops today for David and Martin to control as well. Now, finally, the security has arrived to take Eddie away from the circuit. They've been after him all weekend. But it's been good to come down here and meet with the fans. So thank you all very much. Good to meet you all. And well done. Thank you for your continued support. And before we leave here, it's nice. I love sort of when you go around the circuits. When we went to Monaco this year, you can still see the damage on the Armco barriers where Rubens Barrichello crashed last year. I ran around the track last night. The tyre marks are still there from where Felipe Massa had his accident here in 2009. And if you look over there, you can see the very wall where Rubens Barrichello was squeezed like nothing else by Michael Schumacher when we raced here last time. That was a moment, wasn't it?
It was, and I'm sure Schumacher was thinking about that today. He said, I had to spin my car so as not to hit the other driver. He knows he's taken so much flack for that.
I think most of that rubber down there was from Rubens' front right.
But hasn't he mellowed in some way? Because a year ago, for me, that was a frightener. No one liked it. He got a lot of stick. I thought rightly so too, because a fellow companion, fellow team racer, but also ex-team member. He joined and he spent several years with Rubens. That was unnecessary. I think he has mellowed in his years, and as a result, we're beginning to like him even more again.
OK, well, there were plenty of pit stops today, plenty of overtakes. Just to show you one last thing very quickly, the difficult thing with overtakes in Formula One at the moment is the amount of rubber that the cars are shedding as they're racing. So take a look at all of this, and you'll realise how brave the guys are when they head off line to perform overtakes. And we can see Mark Webber doing exactly that right now, up against Felipe Massa. And that's right here on the start-finish straight. You can see the drying line. As soon as you get off that line, it's wetter. There's plenty of marbles, as Martin describes them, causes all sorts of problems for the car. But it was a kind of day of mixed fortunes for Mark Webber. He showed speed at times, but it just wasn't to be. He couldn't pick up another win at this famous old circuit. Let's find out how he's feeling. He's with Lee Mackenzie.
Mark, how do you sum up your race? Was it tyres and traffic today?
Yeah, it was quite an enjoyable Grand Prix up until, when you make the wrong decision from the cockpit. I made the right one to go to the slicks when I did, which worked out well. But, you look completely stupid when you're only on the intermediates for two laps. So if it rains heavier for another 3 or 4 minutes, then that's the right decision. So that's the roll of the dice you've got to make. Obviously, the difference between the slicks and the inters when it was wet was a lot. So it was my call. I decided to roll the dice, and if it worked, obviously you win big. If you lose, I lost some position. So in the end, that's the way it was today. And at the end, obviously, when you catch about 4 or 5 cars in the middle sector, the Sauber was driving on the line with no pace at all, so I could not go anywhere.
But as you say, you want to make these brave decisions, and you came in earlier than anybody else and went onto those slicks. Just tell us about your start, though, because you dropped back a couple of places. How difficult were conditions at that stage?
Yeah, pretty tricky. It was pretty slippery on that side of the grid, I think. Got away reasonable. I saw the Mercedes and those guys got a very good start as well. More better than me for sure. So, and that was the first part of the race. But you knew it was going to be some more decisions late in the race, which I got some right, some wrong.
Bit of a difficult day for Mark Webber all round. I've seen one of the most happy-go-lucky and excitable Formula One fans of all. Eddie, perhaps you'd like to go and have a quick word?
I think he looks a bit too formidable for me. He has more battens and more guns on him. Do you think I should go and speak to him?
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so. No, I think... thank you.
No, it's a bit difficult.
That's not the kind of answer we need.
Thank you. We're trying to get along the pit lane here, but one of the problems is, of course, all the Arctic lorries are making their way up and down. So the plan for most of these teams is to try and get all this stuff back to the UK as quick as possible. So as soon as we can cross the pit lane, we'll do that. It's as dangerous here as when the race is on, isn't it?
It is. These guys want to go on holiday, though, don't they? They've earned a holiday.
We're going to make our way down to McLaren. I think one of the good things to do as we go down there is do a quick half-term report. We'll flip-flop on each of these teams. We'll start here with Virgin. Martin, you can take Virgin. What do you reckon? Half-time report.
Well, they've given up on the digital-only race car, and I guess all of their focus is now on 2012, doing the best they can. Hispania giving, or HRT as they're now called, giving them more than a run for their money, and they've lost touch with Lotus.
I suppose the big headline for HRT this weekend, Daniel Ricciardo ahead of Liuzzi. Good weekend for him.
Liuzzi, he's been there a long time. So for me, what Ricciardo is doing is simply super. He's adding to his reputation. Whether he'll get a proper slot next year remains to be seen. Somehow I doubt it, because I think there's just too many good drivers already in positions ahead of him. So fingers crossed for him, but I think it's a tough call.
OK, those 2 cars that you can see under wraps there and the guys working around are the Team Lotus cars. Now, they finished a whopping 1.7 seconds ahead of Virgin in qualifying yesterday. They've got the new power steering on. Something's gone right there, hasn't it, this weekend?
Yeah, I mean, Kovalainen said they might have over-promised and slightly under-delivered, but they are knocking on the door of the midfield. Another second, I think, would have put them solidly in there into Q2. So I think for Lotus, sensible step forward, probably not as much as they hoped.
Have a little look in the back of that lorry, because I tell you, these cars get better looked after than most of the people flying around to Formula One races. They've got these beautiful lorries, everything in Formula One perfectly pristine, and that belongs to Toro Rosso, Eddie. While Lotus had 2 retirements, Toro Rosso had 2 cars in the points. They'll be happy after today.
We've talked about it, and it was a good day for them. And you know what I'm impressed about? We all talked about one or other of them getting the push. I don't see that happening now. I think it's a sensible decision. Alguersuari has, for sure, picked up his game. He's had a really good run, and today was no exception. I see those 2 probably being retained. It depends really how Ricciardo is able to make the latter half of the season stick with HRT, and that would be the big question part.
OK, we've got the Sauber garage here. Kamui Kobayashi, Sergio Perez Martin, both confirmed for 2012. Both enjoy not making too many pit stops. Maybe they do charge them for every set of tyres they use. How will they be feeling going into the summer break?
It's very Sauber, isn't it? It's very middle of the road. They always have been. Yeah. They keep popping into the points. They've got 2 exciting young drivers, and I think they're ahead of Force India in the World Championship, just behind Renault. I think Sauber will be moderately satisfied with their first half of the season.
Okay.
I mean, remember, of course, they had both cars disqualified after the first race in Australia as well, didn't they, where they would have had another handful of points.
Yep, you can compare these two directly, Eddie. Force India, the team that were once Jordan, and Williams. How would you say those two teams will look towards the second half of the year? What will they want to do next year?
Well, they're losing Sam Michael. Could be role reversal there. Who's to say Sam Michael wouldn't wind back up at Force India, or what was Jordan, as you say? That would be a bit of a change around. That's not beyond the bounds of possibilities. Also, who's to say that Suttel won't wind up in Williams? That's a real possibility, because I see Hülkenberg and De Resta leading that team at Force India. I think their car has made a huge improvement, Martin, probably the best in the last number of races. And as far as I'm concerned, they may take the fight to Sauber for this position, because number 5 slot, that's what they're after.
In case you're wondering, they don't take security very importantly here at the Hungarian Grand Prix. There aren't many police officers around, which is a shame. Let's just pop over here while we talk about Mercedes. It might be a good idea actually to have a look at the standings for the constructors, if we can, in a moment, just to get a good idea about where we are. Mercedes has said there's a fundamental design issue with the car in some ways, that they can't really make it an awful lot faster than it is. Will they be focusing fully on 2012 after we come back?
I think they have to. We've got 8 races remaining. They don't have the downforce of the top 3. You could see that clearly last weekend at the Nürburgring. It was a really quick chicane, and Rosberg and Schumacher, their car was trying to get away from them, where the leading 3 teams were not, and there was a clear indication of levels of downforce. We know they've got the same engine as McLaren and Force India, so we know they've got a great engine. And I could see 2012 now very much being their focus, and there's enough skill in that team to make that a great big step as well.
Okay, you can see Mercedes there with 80 points on the board. Then after that, it's very much Ferrari, McLaren and Red Bull, kind of in a championship battle of their own. And Eddie, you've been in a few of those yourself. Can you see anybody overhauling Red Bull?
I don't think so, but that shouldn't take away from the overall excitement. We've been dished up with yet another unbelievable race here, and I think gone are the days that people thought it was a bit like Michael Schumacher, inevitable, going out there winning and winning and winning. This is much more, it's different, it's more enjoyable for me, because there are a lot more drivers who can actually take the win, and Jenson has proved it here. We saw last week his teammate, and then before that Alonso at Silverstone. We have been dished up with some unbelievably brilliant races.
Okay, and we found a rather nice spot here. You can see Jessica, Jenson's girlfriend, wearing the first hat. She didn't win the race today, in case you've only just woken up, pressed red and joined us. Jenson did, but I think she's deserved that hat, don't you? And you can see them wearing their rocket red t-shirts as Jenson Button arrives behind us. A big hug for his team. He's a happy boy, and there you go, the second hug belongs to Lewis Hamilton, and it's great to see these two getting on well, as they have done right from the start, Martin.
Well, they've made contact a couple of times on the racetrack, and still they can, their relationship has survived those rather tense moments, and they're very competitive. They're different characters in many ways, but the chemistry between them works. They're both former world champions. They're both world-class drivers. Jenson, though, he's twinkle toes on a day like today, isn't he? And it worked out yet again.
And did you always do this, Eddie, after your wins and after your big weekends, get everyone together and do a bit of team bonding like this?
Ours were pretty much further apart, sadly. But when it did happen, there was complete mayhem, particularly the first one, I think, in Spa, because no one expected it. They didn't even have an Irish national anthem. How about that? But anyway, we allowed them to play the British national anthem, because that's where the team was based, and that's what we wanted. So there's an extra little British national anthem that shouldn't have been played. But anyway, they redressed that, and they sorted it out with the other ones. But, you go out and you don't know whether to go and have a drink, or you don't know whether to just celebrate with the people. You just want to be close to the ones who have done it with you.
Okay, let's just enjoy these pictures for a minute.
1, 2, 3, hey!
I love the fact that we can bring you these kinds of shots on the F1 forum. It's great staying on air for an extra bit of time and seeing this kind of raw emotion. Formula One sometimes can be all about the science and the maths behind winning, but this is what winning is really all about. People genuinely elated and over the moon, because winning is everything in Formula One. And we've talked about where the teams a little bit further back on the grid are heading into the summer break, Martin. Where does this leave McLaren? 2 wins in 2 races.
They've got the pace, haven't they, in qualifying and in the race, and they've got the strategy. They seem to have fundamentally the reliability to keep Red Bull very much on their toes, thank goodness, in the closing half of the season. And you know what really strikes me about McLaren this year is when they've had a chance to win a race, they've taken it every time, haven't they? They've really punished Red Bull at every opportunity that they've been not gifted, but given the opportunity to win.
And the wily old fox leading the championship. What happens today? Finishes, doesn't win it, but extends his lead. I mean, by 8 points today, so he's now 85 points ahead of the guy, right? And, you have to say, who's saying he's doing a bad job? Because when he can't win, he brings it home. Gets second place on the podium. Remarkable. He's also a high-class quality.
That was my joke in commentary of he's had a terrible day. He's finished second, and it's because he hasn't won. But some people I noticed on Twitter thought I was saying he really had a bad day. And I'm making the same point as you, Eddie. Vettel, even when it doesn't quite work out, he's still right there. His worst result's fourth, isn't it, of the season? But Mark Webber's been in the top 5 of every Grand Prix and still hasn't won one. Poor old Mark, it just won't fall into place for him.
He took some very brave decisions today. They could have so easily have worked out. I thought the way he came in for the slicks before everyone else, and then when we saw the purples coming up on the screen, this was a really good move for him.
Well, hopefully we can grab a quick word with Jenson after he's hugged and shaken hands with every member of his team, which pretty much sums up the kind of driver that he is. Hopefully he'll head over and join us in just a moment. He's just to our left-hand side. And it's great, actually. He was just told, go and speak to the BBC. The first thing he did was look for another guy. He was keen to speak to someone called Tom. Tom got an extra large cuddle. Let's find out why he gets that, and also a high five. And Jenson will come and speak to us. It's reminiscent of Brazil 2009 with all these cameras in here. What was so special about Tom? You were keen to give Tom a big cuddle and a high five.
Tom's my data engineer, so he's an important man, and he's big, and he's good at giving bear hugs.
Good, and you needed a bear hug, right?
I did. You weren't there to give me one, so I went to Tom instead.
Next time. I imagine you've had plenty of hugs though today after a drive like that. Talk us through your race from inside the cockpit, because it was to and fro, wasn't it?
It was, the first stint was pretty interesting in those wet conditions, and I went to the slicks pretty early and it worked. And Lewis was out on slicks and pretty quick at the start of the stint. I was like, he seems to be pushing really hard. And at the end of the stints, I could really look after the tyres and have good pace, and I was pulling him in about a second a lap. And every time we put tyres on, he'd pull away, I'd catch him up, and it was to and throw. And then he made his little mistake, spun off, and it was a lot of action. So it was a great race. And personally, I wish it had stayed dry, but it rained and we still got the job done. So 100%.
Well, the
pace was there.
How many times did you pass and repass each other? Have you any idea? Were you counting?
Well, he spun off, and I came past him, and I almost passed Paul de Rista as I did that, and I realised I was on the yellow flag, had to hit the brakes. So Lewis could turn around, get back on my bum. And then a couple of laps I pulled away, it started raining, he caught me back up, I made a mistake at turn 2, went wide, got past me, then I got past him, and then he got back past me, and it's quite fun, you could say. Two Brits in the front fighting it out.
The euphoria of Canada will live forever in my mind. Where does this one come?
It's not as big as Canada, personally, because there were such lows in Canada. So to come away with that victory was phenomenal, I think, for all of us here. But this is a good victory. But as I said, in the race, I actually didn't want it to rain because the pace was very good, and I think we made some very good calls.
And talking of making calls, if you would have been in front of Lewis when the final pit stop decisions were made and Lewis came in and he put Inters on and then it wasn't to be and Mark Webber did the same thing and ended up coming back in, would you have come in and put Inters on at that point if you had the choice, if you were the lead McLaren?
When?
Towards the end of the race.
When Lewis came in?
When the rain started again and Lewis came in.
Well, I was told to come in.
But you were behind Lewis at that point?
Initially, I was told to come in and queue up behind him.
To put Inters on?
Yeah. I didn't answer back, because I was never going to.
Oh, no. Entirely your decision to not
You heard it first here on the BBC.
I'm so surprised with that call.
So that was it, that call, your decision in the cockpit.
Well, initially I didn't say a thing, and then, to be fair to the team, the second to last corner they said, right, Lewis is definitely coming in, stay out, because they didn't want to queue us in case... they wanted to split us, I guess, in case it didn't rain. So.
When you first went out on the yellow mark, the harder tyres, did you realise straight away you were going to go to the end of the race? Or did you think it was the right decision there and then?
Initially, no, because I was surprised we pitted so early, because I know Lewis pitted the lap before, and I felt the car was working really well and the pace was good. I was really surprised they called me in so early. I came in, of course, and we put the tyres on. I was like, guys, why did you call me in so early? And they said, well, the reason why we did is to cover the cars behind, the Ferrari of Alonso. You're on primes and Lewis is gone on to options, so make him last. And I was like, wow, okay, we are in good shape.
Because he was sliding around like crazy when you out of turn one on those prime tyres, the harder tyres.
Yeah, I mean, to get temperature was really tricky, and that's why I didn't want it to rain. Because with a harder tyre in the wet conditions, you just can't get any heat in it. So it was pretty tough, but I mean, fair play to Lewis as well. I mean, we had such a good battle, we didn't touch. And, we want to beat each other, but it's good that we have that as well. We have a respect for each other. And I got a lot of respect for these guys as well. They've made such big improvements over the last few races. We've won 3 of the last 5 races, and we're coming strong.
And so this was race 200. Another win for you. You now go into the summer break. Where does this leave you? Where does it leave the championship battle? Where does it leave the sport?
It's going to leave me in bits later.
I bet it is, but I'm sure you'll recover in some lovely part of the world where it's a lot warmer than it is here. Yeah. But where do you think it leaves the championship battle?
For me, it's very tricky. I'm a very positive person, but it's very tricky. The last 2 races to not finish for reliability reasons, it's tough. So this weekend I just got my head down, focused on just weekend as it comes, and the job was pretty good and we got the win. So I'm just going to work in that way every race I go to. I'm not going to look at the points. I'm so far behind, but I think if we can do what we did here with this, with the package we have, we can do very well this year. But points aren't of importance at the moment. It's race results.
Okay, I think we sadly have to let Jenson go. Otherwise, we'd love to stand here and talk to you all the time. But listen, since we've been covering this sport since 2009, brilliant drama from you, and it carries on. So well done. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
And for whoever's been pinching my bottom throughout the whole of that interview is in serious trouble when all this is over. You find out which of your team's been pinching my bum that whole time.
That might have been my girlfriend, but I wouldn't say so. Oh, maybe it was Big Rich.
I wouldn't be moaning if it was just you. I think it may have been one of these
Big John Button,
maybe. This is Team Button behind. I got to say a big thank you to these guys. 200 Grand Prix, they've had to put up with me, so thank you very much.
Well done to Jenson, and of course, well done to Team Button, who are standing behind us there as they get their photos taken. So, Jenson picks up yet another win this season. It means Sebastian Vettel, for another race, doesn't pick up another win, but as we've already heard, extends his lead in the Drivers' Championship, and that's all that matters to him. 85 points now is the gap between him and his nearest rival, Mark Webber. Let's hear from Sebastian Vettel.
Well, Sebastian, you were leading the race at one point. You dropped back a little bit. You finally finished second. How do you feel about that?
Mixed. I mean, generally, I think we can be happy with second place, but not entirely, because I think there was a small chance to win today, and we didn't use it. So here and there, I think we could have been a bit smarter. I lost the car 2 times. I had to run a little bit wide. I took it easy then because, especially on the outside, on the paint. On the painted areas, it's very slippery and very easy to do a mistake and spin the car. So it was more, I think, smart or wise to open the car and say, okay, I might have lost track position in the beginning to Lewis and a little bit of the connection to the cars ahead the second time round. But all in all, I think McLarens were quicker today. I felt the pace was in the car, especially after last week. I think we made it good step forward and I felt much more comfortable, but I started the race to win and not to finish second or third. I think it was a tricky race today, so it could have been anything really, but congratulations to Jenson. He's very quick in these conditions, and I think the last 2 races maybe he was a bit unlucky, so today he deserves the luck he had probably in the race at some stages, but we need to make sure that we cannot accept McLaren to be quicker, and we need to make sure that we get back to where we were maybe at the beginning of the season.
And it's not just McLaren, because you've actually only won 1 out of the last 5 Grand Prix. I'm sure you don't need me to tell you that. Are you feeling slightly less comfortable going into the summer break than you thought you might have been, because it was a very strong start for you this season?
Well, I think all in all we had good last 5 races as well, and I think we were very close today. We had some problems, and here and there, as I said, we could have been maybe a bit smarter. It was a tough race, and there were other occasions where I think we were very close to win. Finished second. Worst race probably was Nürburgring. So I think so far it was a good season for us. You know, with so many races, I think you have to be prepared, and you shouldn't be surprised if you face some difficult races. But as I said, you know, the target for the next races is to attack completely and you know, try to win again. So there's nothing that gives you as much satisfaction as winning. So you know, that's why that has to be our target as well for the next races.
So Sebastian Vettel with a second place finish, and as they clear up the paddock behind us and gear up to go off on their summer holidays, Fernando Alonso will go on holiday knowing the last 4 races have been pretty strong from him. Let's hear from him now. He finished 3rd today.
Well, Fernando, how would you sum up your race today? It was pretty eventful for everyone, I think.
Yeah, it was quite interesting. I think with different conditions, different tyres, choice for different people. Also in the dry conditions, because people put the soft and other guys put the super soft. And I think at the end, being on the podium is a great achievement again for the team in this stressful July, for sure, with 3 races. I think we were the guy who scored more points in July with these 3 races, and definitely the team is improving and moving forward. So we are extremely happy. We look forward with some confidence, because I think Spa with the medium high-speed corners can suit our car. Then immediately after Monza, which is the home race for the team. So interesting races coming, and now the break that we all need to recharge the batteries a little bit.
Hotter races coming as well. Do you think that plays into the favour of the Ferrari?
Well, we were expecting a hot July, and has been the coolest July of history, I think. I think in Silverstone was 12 degrees, in Germany 8 in the drivers' parade, and here we are with the coat in. So overall, I think we need to look forward. Whatever the temperature we have in Spa, that should be not extremely hot either. Try to perform, and I think we try to understand our problems. We try to improve the car, and definitely we are now in a position with a car that is competitive enough to fight for podiums and victories. So the second part of the championship will be much more fun for us.
I know you'd been hoping for a strong McLaren, but is it slightly stronger than you'd been hoping for? It seemed pretty good out there today.
It was one part of the race that we had Hamilton, Jenson, myself third, and Vettel fourth. And at that point I said, this is looking good. If I overtake 1 or 2 McLarens, this is good. But then he didn't finish the race like this, and Sebastian gets second. He drove fantastically well again with difficult conditions, so he's put in good steps for his second championship, and not by luck, because this race was quite good for him.
There you go, the thoughts of Fernando Alonso as he prepares for a nice holiday. Before we disappear from the F1 forum, so many messages coming in on Twitter. I've never had such a busy Twitter weekend. J_Thumbwood, full credit to Lewis for post-race comments. Obviously very frustrated, but really showed professionalism. You would have heard that interview, Martin, up in the commentary box. What did you make of that?
I thought it was a really good attitude, and it felt natural and honest, and it didn't seem forced. Sometimes in the past we've seen Lewis sort of feeling the need to go into PR mode. That felt like a very genuine reaction to me, and I'm just listening to Fernando there. I bet he's wishing he hadn't have asked for a stronger McLaren last weekend. That's what he was saying. McLaren have got to help us beat Red Bull. Well, now he's got to try and beat McLaren as well.
Interesting, adding to that about Lewis, I was more impressed the way he hugged Jenson, and he felt really much part of the team. This doesn't look like a guy who wants to leave that team. I'll be surprised very soon after the summer break that we don't get an announcement from the team that both drivers will have re-signed.
Body language is very telling. That while you were speaking and Jenson had that team photo, the first man to jump up and go and hug him was Lewis Hamilton, and he wasn't on camera.
Is that a good thing?
Yeah.
In Formula One?
Yeah, of course it is.
OK. We've got loads of questions also coming in about Red Bull. Stuart_Neil wants to know if you guys think that Red Bull have been complacent. Along a similar line, SB_1995, hello to you. Is Mark Webber good enough for Red Bull? 2 questions to be answered there. Perhaps you'd like to take the Mark Webber one, and Eddie, then you can have the Red Bull one as a team. Martin?
Yes, Mark Webber's more than good enough to be a Red Bull driver. They can't take a risk, I don't think, on a new boy. They've got to put their new boys into Toro Rosso. They've got to beat Hamilton, Button and Alonso, and if Massa gets back on form, him as well. Let's see if Mercedes-Benz get their act together. They've got a couple of great drivers. Red Bull can't take a risk on a new boy.
With regard to the team, actually, for me, the team, they just got better and better and better. And, you know, when things look grim, they have been very sensible. We've been critical of Vettel about some of his ability to overtake, but actually he did an amazing job today. I thought some of his passing was very good, and he took his places when they were there. I think, given the tyre choice, I think second was a very good result for him, and he maximised his position in the championship, which at the end of the season, he will look back second World Championship. He's not going to be counting up the wins.
OK, I saw you waving at Stefano Domenicali there. This tweet relates to his team. 12S Cook, you haven't spoken about Vettel's pass on Alonso. Right underneath that, Jay McLaughlin, Vettel still hasn't overtaken anyone. I suppose, yes, he has. Did Vettel show anything for you today in terms of answering the questions, in terms of can he pass, can he not pass as a racing driver?
I think what we're going to get here is people queuing up and asking Eddie to slag them off on a Saturday and Sunday morning, because he did that to McLaren last week and they won the race, and he did it to Vettel here.
Chivvy up, isn't that what you call it? A motivational speech. Yeah.
To be honest, I'm going to go home and watch the highlights. I can't remember what happened. So much.
Can you start saying that we're rubbish, please?
But everybody knows that, so why confirm it?
Are we going to get to see the Vettel and Alonso?
Yeah, let's have a look. This is it now. This is Sebastian Vettel showing everyone in Formula One that he can indeed overtake what he needs to, and it's not exactly up against the slouch, Fernando Alonso.
No, he went a long way round him, Martin. That was a really good move.
Well,
because
he allowed,
he allowed the Ferrari plenty of room. Normally you would see a driver try and close that door, but maybe he was too late into the corner, and maybe didn't want to lock up the brakes, but it was a great move.
It was. He's got the DRS open and the slipstream, and I can't remember the tyre status at that time, but do you know what? It's completely news to me that Sebastian Vettel can't race wheel to wheel. I heard it earlier on the weekend, and I don't know where it came from. You certainly haven't heard it from me, I don't think.
No, certainly not from me.
We've got a message saying, can we get Jeff from Marussia Virgin Racing on the forum? It's his last race weekend. Sadly, we can't, but we can say, well done, Jeff, for your time in Formula One, and good luck to whatever you're off to next. ACDC Jacko 2_F1, easy one, has said that 8 races left. Jenson's 4 wins behind Sebastian Vettel. Can he do it?
No chance.
Only if Vettel has
Thanks,
a mechanical failure and 2 first corner contacts or something like that. It's going to need something bizarre now. Vettel's got 1.5 hands on the trophy. It was 1 hand this morning.
OK, and plenty of messages about people enjoying the coverage. Please say hi to my boyfriend Brian and his Red Bull, falling away like Brawn did a few years ago. That is worth mentioning. Jenson Button and Sebastian Vettel coming into this race weekend had identical records. JB from 2009, Seb from this year, the same number of wins. And we all saw what happened. We had a titanic battle right up into Brazil.
Yes, but don't forget who won the championship then and who's going to win the championship now. The leader at this time of the championship with that kind of a lead haul takes some unbelievable.
Mark Webber led the championship leaving this race last year. Vettel was a slightly distant third, if I remember.
Oh, someone's just tweeted, can we see the Virgin car coming into the pit sideways, please? That I've never seen in my life in Formula One.
Well, it was a handbrake turn, wasn't it? Closely followed by a slightly clumsy 3-point turn with a car with no steering lock.
I mean, that is incredible.
Yeah.
How lucky were they that there was no one
that's a miracle.
It was so lucky that the team in front of them, HRT, that they weren't just ready to do a pit stop. Would have been shocking.
Yeah. It's extraordinary that he didn't run into somebody.
Yeah. But there's a lot of paint in those pit lanes. That huge, great, big, long advertising strip with very slick paint on it and lots of people knocking around. It's a surprise that we don't see more of that sort of stuff when it's pouring with rain, actually.
Yeah. You don't know if he got a car issue or whatever. We can't say it's D'Ambrosio's fault because we don't know if he got a braking issue or what.
No. OK, well, I think we've pretty much gone through all of those tweets and messages. Thank you very much for every single message that we've received on email, on Twitter this weekend. It's been an interesting one for us, but thank you very much for being there every step of the way. Martin, enjoyed yourself?
I loved it. I thought it was another brilliant Grand Prix. I thought that's, it's 9 of the 11 have been stunners. I really enjoyed that race. And it was a tough race to call, actually, because we had the split strategy on the tyres, throw in the intermediates, and five drivers very much in the race. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Me too. I have to say that we were pleased because we were very close to calling it perfectly. It was just spot-on conditions for Jenson. He is the master in these conditions. And great win for Britain, great win for McLaren, great win for us because we enjoyed every moment of it. It was a great race.
Yep, a great weekend for Formula One. Congratulations, Jenson Button. A perfect reminder to us of why we absolutely love covering Formula One for you, and hopefully a good reminder of the kind of drama that Formula One can throw up and why it feels so right to be watching it here. Thank you very much for spending it with us, and we look forward to covering Formula One brilliantly for the rest of this season. Bring on what hopefully will be a great title battle. See you in a few weeks after the break. Have a good summer.
Working for the weekend with gods amongst men, 'cause we fit these roads and feel these songs, so we fall right back down again. Right back down again.
Next time on Formula One, Round 12, Belgium.